am here for this look, and I feel like people need to put respect on your creative direction game.
Thank you. It's one of my favorite parts of being an artist, honestly, truly.
We need more people who are pushing against these confines, and you just break out of boxes in every way.
Thank you so much. I think that is something that maybe I learned from very early childhood. I was always embraced for just being who I am.
The generation before us really leaned heavily on these labels. Gen Z, the generation just behind us, is like totally fluid and free. And I think you kind of came up in the middle of this transition. So what advice do you have for people your age, peers, who are kind of navigating that transition within themselves?
I think the world is always, going to try to minimize you because it makes people easier to understand. It makes you easier to digest. And I don't think that we should make ourselves easier to digest or more understandable to other people. That's like what makes everyone interesting and complex and having a lot of layers. And
speaking of being liberated from labels, I felt like a secondhand liberation from hearing you talk about leaving your label. What does it feel like now to have 2 indie albums under your belt and to still be killing it?
Thank you. I just feel better. Like I feel lighter. I feel like I have less pressure on myself because I'm just having fun all the time. I'm comparing myself less to other people. I'm more empowered in myself as an artist. I think that that's really key.
What does your process look like in terms of manifesting something that you really want to see actualize in your life?
I feel like I've manifested things through action. It's through like having a belief that this is going to happen. And by having that belief, I take the steps towards it happening. And I think that's really how you manifest a lot of things in your life is you just you step into them.
Woo! Oh my God, this is a sermon. I love the way you framed that. When I was preparing for this conversation with you, the first interview that came up was the interview with Ebro. At that point, I didn't know that it had resurfaced and gone viral and become this big news story. I just happened to see it. I was so disturbed. And I wondered what you were really feeling in that moment.
I feel like when I first got in the game, now reflecting back to it, I would brace myself because I was just like, here it comes. Like, here's going to be another problematic or uncomfortable situation. It wasn't abnormal to me at the time to expect to go into a situation and get asked an uncomfortable or question that felt like it crossed the line. Being so young and being somebody who was new on the scene, obviously, I was always focused on just trying to be as professional as possible and trying to just kind of like keep my head down and focus on the music and always turn the conversations back to like the music and my art. I just hope that, we continue in that direction of making sure that we are respectful and we don't let things like that just becomes as normal as it was at the time. It wasn't something that was problematic then. And now looking back, it seems very obvious.
The way that they responded to you was so glaringly inappropriate. And there was a moment where you gave this really eloquent answer and they looked at each other and they said, I didn't hear anything she said, did you? And it was just this moment where I'm like, every woman in the world watching this
really
knows exactly what that feels like. But for these men to have the audacity to actually say it out loud, and for that to be normalized and for it to take 6 years for somebody to call that out, it just feels kind of crazy.
I've worked so hard to gain a true respect as a creative and as an artist, and people look at me differently than they did then. And that's something that takes work and years and just continuing to focus on your craft and focus on your business and be like, I'm here to work. I'm here to create art. This isn't just a game for me.
This is a deep one. What does ego death mean to you?
I feel like it's having a complete shattering of your perception of who you thought you were. And usually it's super painful, but it's also super necessary because you come out the other side way more free and way more liberated and way more empowered. That's an ego death.
Well, do you feel like you've experienced an ego death?
And maybe in 2018, when I was kind of at my last leg with my label, having problems there. I went through a really big breakup. I just publicly just felt okay, everything that I thought in terms of my career and where I was going for the next 6 months, a year, not happening anymore. I think even since then, I've just become way better as a human being.
I love that. That's a mic drop. That's a mic drop answer. This was awesome.
Thanks, Elaine.
Thank you so much for being so open and such a beautiful soul.
Thank you so much.